Alright, well hey there guys, welcome back to another tier list video. It is me, Weedman here, and today I'm going to be coming at you guys with a Clash of Clans magical items tier list. Now look, again, I've said this once before, I play Clash of Clans way more than I really should, but that just makes me qualified to make this list, and also because I'm really, one of the things I really find fun about this game is being optimized with it, and doing things as perfectly as I can and getting the most value out of these items as I can. Like I stress about these items whenever I use them. So I really try to use these items as efficiently as I can, and I haven't really been keeping up with it in the past like month or so, so I don't know if it's changed or not. I still know how to use these items relatively well and relatively efficiently, so I do feel qualified to make this list. Now that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into this, alright? Alright, now first up, we have the Shovel of Obstacles. Now the Shovel of Obstacles, in and of itself, really isn't that good because really all it does is allows you to like move trees and bushes and stuff like that. So in terms of like impact it has on your game and your account and all of that, it really doesn't progress your base at all. Like, it doesn't upgrade things, it doesn't give you resources or any sort of advantage other than collecting these pointless little decorations. However, I love pointless little decorations in this game. I collect as many as I can, and I have way too many in my account right now. So personally, I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw it. I gotta throw it in C, just because it doesn't progress your base or move anything forward. It's just for collecting things. However, I do kind of prefer getting it over some of the other magical items on this list, so I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it in C, just based off of how much I personally like to enjoy it. Personally use it, sorry. Now next we have wall rings. Now wall rings are very, very good. You can upgrade walls, which are the most expensive thing in the game. At the higher town hall levels, it takes billions of resources to fully upgrade your walls, and I absolutely hate it. Now, I would put wall rings in S tier, just because, again, upgrading walls, super useful. However, I'm going to knock them down to A, and that's for one simple reason. They don't change with the builder bonus. So if you get a 20% builder bonus, you're still paying the same amount of walls you would if you didn't have it. Now, if they stacked or changed or whatever, with the builder bonus, I would really throw them up into S, because then cheaper walls, cheaper wall rings, it makes sense, but unfortunately it just doesn't work that way in this game. So I gotta go ahead and put him in A just for that one simple factor, and I really don't know why Supercell chooses not to do it. I mean, I know why, they want you to spend more money on the game, but it just bothers me, so I gotta put him in A. Alright, now next we're moving on to the potions. Now potions are really good, potions are really useful, however there are some in this category that I just don't use. Like the training potions, I have way too many of these things, I rarely ever use them. Sometimes I'll use them if I'm like really trying to farm, but then again, I end up popping it, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna farm this," and then I get like two armies trained, and I use that, and I just end up forgetting. So I really don't use these a lot, and I always have extra left over, and I always find myself just converting them to gems in the gold pass. So I gotta put them in B. Now they are really useful if you use them. Really, all the potions are useful if you use them. I just personally, I tend not to use some of these. And the training potion is one of it. I'm going to go ahead and give it in B because I would prefer it over some of the other potions. But it's definitely not the best potion to me, just because, again, I have so many of these and I just end up converting them to gems anyway. And if I miss out on them, I genuinely do not care. Now, next we have the Builder Potion. Now, the Builder Potion is, I think, the second best potion in this game. It just knocks off 10 hours of your build time. However, they are really, really rare to come across. But I still got to put them in S tier. Because knocking off 10 hours of build time, although that's not a like substantial amount like a book of building or whatever, it's still really useful, and I do always enjoy getting them, and I always use them pretty much right away. So for those reasons, I gotta put them in S. And next we have the Clock Tower Potion. Now the Clock Tower Potion is pretty much like the Training Potion, where I have too many of them. I never really use them. However, when I do use them, I tend to find a little bit more useful than the training potion. So I got to go ahead and put them in B above the training potion, just because, again, when I use them, I find I have a little bit more value out of them than the training potion. Now, next we have the hero potion. Now, these things I legitimately never use. Like, I don't think I've used a single one of these in my life, and I know I probably should. And thinking about it, I do take that back. I do use them every now and again when I like first upgrade to a town hall level, but I'm pretty efficient when it comes to my heroes, so I never really need to, because my heroes are Okay, they're not the first thing I get done, but my queen is always like almost immediately done. Like I always immediately upgrade my queen, and that's kind of the only reason I would use it. So the only time I really use these is when I first move up to a town hall, or if I'm going up against a base that I need everything I can possibly get to use them. So I gotta put them. Honestly, I gotta put it in C just because, again, I really don't use them. Now, I understand a lot of people use them and they are really, really useful if you need them, but I never need them. So I just have too many of these and I always definitely convert them to gems with the gold pass. So I gotta put them in C. I'm gonna put them above the shovel because they do have an impact on your gameplay and your account, but I just never use them. Same with the power potion. The power potion, I use this even less, because I'm very, very efficient with my laboratory. My laboratory is always the first thing I get maxed, except for like Eagle Artillery and stuff like that, but that's only one upgrade. But I always max out my lab like really quickly. Like I maxed my Town Hall 14 lab within like 6 months or something. Like that thing has been done for months at this point. So I gotta put it in D. Of all the potions, this is the potion that I definitely use the least. Now next we have the research potion. Now the research potion is the best potion in the game for me. It takes off 1 day of your laboratory time, and you can get 3 of these a week with the clan capital raid medals, and I always max those out, and that's how I can get my laboratory done quickly. So I always run out of these. I always use these. I love these things so much. Highest here. And I'm lumping in the pet potion. This isn't the pet potion isn't on this list. I couldn't find one with everything. This was the closest list I could get, but I'm lumping in the pet potion with it because it is the same thing just for the pet house. So for those two combined, I gotta put them in S. However, if the pet potion was here, I would put it in A, just simply because it's not always in the trader. For some reason, it seems like every other week they're in it, and every other week they're not. I don't really know why. It makes no sense whatsoever, but that's just how it is. So if the pet potion was on here, I would put him in A, but I'm lumping it in with the research potion, so I gotta put it in S. Alright, now for the final potion we have in the potions category is the resource potion. So the resource potion, basically what this does is it boosts your resource collectors and makes you collect more resources for about 24 hours. It's definitely not as useful as the research or the builder potion. However, I do like it a lot more than the other potions. I think this is the 3rd best potion in the game. So that reason I got to put it in A. I'm going to go ahead and put it below the wall rings, just because the money value you get out of them, you get more out of the wall rings, because each wall ring is worth 1 million. And the research potion, you probably only get a couple 100,000 extra from it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in A below the wall rings. All right, now moving on to the books. Now the books, basically what these do is they just finish an upgrade for you. I'm realizing now that this list doesn't have the hammers. So I'm going to go ahead and lump these together as well. So when I rank these, please consider it with the hammers in mind. Now, the hammers is the same thing as the book, except you don't need the resource cost. So with the hammers, you just bonk it and it's upgraded. Very, very powerful, very, very strong. However, you can only get one of those a month. So for the first book / hammer, we got the Book of Building. Now, the Book of Building is probably the book, it's not the book that I use the least, but it's probably the 2nd least that I use. Just because, again, I'm so efficient with everything. I just tend to have a bunch of these lying around. I don't really use them as much as I could. And also when I do use them, I really feel bad because a lot of times I'm using them like on archer towers and stuff, because I get my Eagle Artillery and my expos and all that done like first. So in terms of books, I think I'm gonna put the Book of Building in B. In terms of everything, I'm definitely gonna put it high B, because I would definitely prefer a Book of Building than any of these other potions. I apologize if I'm stumbling over this word. Wow. I apologize if I'm stumbling over my words. I'm recording this at 1:30 at night before this video goes up, so bear with. Now next we have the Book of Fighting. Now personally, I really like the Book of Fighting. I like the Book of, the Hammer of Fighting even more, because this is what I use for my Dark Elixir troops, so I can save all my Dark Elixir for my heroes. Now, the Book of Fighting and the Hammer of Fighting, I use these a lot. I always make sure to get it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in high A, because again, it allows me to use all my Dark Elixir for my heroes, which is how I get my heroes done so quickly. And a lot of times, I also don't really use a lot of Dark Elixir troops. I used to use a lot of Hog Riders, but I use Golems too. Ice Golems, sorry. I use Ice Golems too. But again, I just don't really use a whole lot of Dark Elixir troops, so having the hammer for it is really useful. And next we have the Book of Spells. Now the Book of Spells, it's useful when you need spells upgraded, but spells, they go quickly. Like I just kind of upgrade them as I go, and I really don't use it. So I got to put it in high C, just because again, spells aren't really that difficult to do. Now the Book of Heroes, I'm including the Hammer of Heroes. Now actually thinking about this, I'm gonna swap some shit around. Because thinking about it, I would much rather have a Hammer of Fighting than a Hammer of Heroes, because I don't really struggle with my heroes. Obviously, it's not easy and it's not really fast comparatively to to the lab or something. But I would prefer a Hammer of Fighting to a Hammer of Heroes. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna put this in high A and I'm gonna put this in S. Now the question is where in S. I think I'm gonna put it here because the research potions are a lot easier to get and they can do a lot more over time. So I'm gonna put it in middle of S, right below the research potion. All right, now the last category we have are the runes. Now the runes, if you don't know, they basically just fill up your storages. So if you have like your dark elixir storage half full, it'll just fill up the other half of it instantly. Now I love the runes. The runes are really great. Starting off for the runes, we have the rune of builder elixir. Now these two, I don't really like the builder hall too much. I don't play it a whole lot. I wish I did play it more, but it doesn't interest me even after the rework. Like honestly, I liked it more before the rework, just because it was easier. You could just plop down your giant cannon carts and just get 3 stars and just farm and farm and farm. Super easy, super simple. But I do understand why they reworked it, and in all fairness, the rework was fantastic. It made the builder hall, it did make it more fun, it did make it more enjoyable and more dynamic, and I like the 2 different bases, and it's really interesting what they did. It's so time consuming now that I just don't find myself doing it. So honestly, I gotta put the rune of builder elixir, I gotta put that in C, just because I don't really use my builder elixir for much, except I'm upgrading my goddamn helicopter right now. That shit's so fucking stupid. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it in C because I would much rather have almost any of the other runes. Now, the builder gold, I'm not going to talk about this one too much because it's gold for the builder base, whatever, yada yada yada. I'm going to put it in high B just because I would prefer it over the elixir one just so I can upgrade my defenses, and I tend to have a lot more gold cost than elixir cost. Now, the dark elixir rune, I think out of all of the 3 multiplayer based runes, I think I do prefer getting dark elixir runes more than anything, just because dark elixir is hard to come by. It's the scarcest resource in the game, and it can just instantly give you a hero level or a couple pet levels. So for that reason, I gotta put it in S. I think I'll put it, I'm definitely gonna put it below the hammer and book of fighting and above the builder potion, just because I would much rather have a rune of elixir to a builder potion. However, I think I'd much rather have a hammer of fighting or a hammer of fighting, because it does the same thing, just faster, essentially. However, with the dark elixir room, you could get 2 upgrades versus the hammer slash book, you can only get 1. So I think I'm actually going to bump it up to high S. I still think I would much rather have a resource potion, but that's just personal preference. Now, the next one, we have a rune of elixir. Now, I like runes of elixir, honestly. Currently, I'm using them on my walls because what I do is I max out my lab first, then I max out my warden, then I just use my elixir for walls. Pretty simple, pretty explanatory. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put it in A above the wall ring, just because the wall rings, they're only used for walls, while with this, although I do primarily use them for walls now, they have a lot more uses in the past. Now for the final item we have on this tier list, it is the Rune of Gold. Now the Rune of Gold is very, very good. It can allow you to get your Eagle Artillery upgraded, it can allow you to get your Inferno Towers and all the high level defenses just instantly, basically, for free. I mean, not exactly for free, because you gotta get one of these things. They're really hard to come by. I typically only get like one of these a month with the gold pass. And the question is, do I think it's better than elixir or dark elixir? I think I'm gonna put it in high A above the rune of elixir, because I would prefer to get one of these to a rune of elixir, just because again it can help with upgrades and defenses, and there's so many of those things now that it's just so imperative. So this is my definitive Clash of Clans item tier list. I know it wasn't too in-depth, but I really could not find one that had all the items. That's what kind of sucks about making these tier list videos. I'm contemplating figuring out how to make these myself, but that's a lot of work. So just a little recap. In S tier, we have the Research Potion, we have the Rune of Dark Elixir, we have the Book / Hammer of Fighting, and we have the Builder Potion. In A tier, we have the Book / Hammer of Heroes, the Gold Rune, the Elixir Rune, the Wall Rings, and the Resource Potion. B tier, we have the Book / Hammer building, we have the Builder Base Gold Rune, we have the Clock Tower Potion and the Training Potion. In C, we have the Book / Hammer of Potions, the Builder Base Elixir Rune, the Hero Potion, and the Shovel of shovel of obstacles, whatever the hell it is. And then in D tier, we have this god-awful power potion that I rarely ever goddamn use. So I'll go ahead and do it for this video. I know it's very short, very straight to the point. I do apologize, but again, I'm filming this at 1:30 at night, the day before it goes up. So you get what you get. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry this was such a lackluster video. More videos to come. That'll be a lot better. Come back this Friday at 12 p.m. for a gaming video. Come back next Monday at 12 p.m. for a podcast. And come back next Wednesday at 12 for another Wednesday video. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and goodbye.